For the past 130 years, our only views of the ice giant Uranus have been this blurry photographs taken by Voyager 2 as it passed by in 1986. Since then, scientists have wanted to return to this sideways planet, which is tilted almost perfectly on its side relative to the Sun. But it's been a hard sell to get NASA to invest in a mission to study it. The last flyby was more than 3 decades ago. And since then, scientists have learned a lot about Uranus from afar with Hubble, but they want to know a lot more. In fact, they want to know so much that in just the past year, NASA has announced not 1 but 2 missions to Uranus, each with their own exciting instruments and capabilities. Both are expected to launch in the mid-2030s and arrive at Uranus in the early 2040s. And while they will both explore the planet's atmosphere and its rings, each spacecraft is taking a slightly different approach. The first mission is called the Uranus Pathfinder, and like the name suggests, its main purpose is to scout ahead and find the best places for a future lander to explore. The most exciting part of the mission will be the first ever landing on Uranus. But before any of that can happen, the Pathfinder has a lot of work to do. It will spend 3 years mapping the planet's surface, looking for the best place to land and characterizing the atmosphere to help scientists understand how the lander will need to get through it. In particular, it will measure the winds, which we know can reach speeds of over 900 miles per hour. That's almost as fast as the space shuttle. It will also look for safe places to land by measuring things like temperature, pressure, and the composition of the atmosphere at different altitudes. It will even help search for the elusive dark spots in Uranus's atmosphere, which are high-altitude storms that have never been observed outside of Earth's own atmosphere. But the Pathfinder won't be mapping the surface of Uranus without any help. In fact, it will deploy 2 small probes that have been named after famous science fiction characters, R2-D2 and C-3P. Each probe is about the size of a shoebox, and they'll be dropped out of the spacecraft and float down into Uranus's atmosphere independently. They'll send back data for about an hour as they fall, giving scientists an even closer look at the atmosphere and helping them learn more about how matter behaves under extreme cold and pressure. The second mission to Uranus is called the Marine Ice Explorer, or MIDOX. It's a much larger spacecraft that will take a more top-down approach to studying the planet. That means it will spend far more time observing the rings of Uranus, which are intermediate in complexity, halfway between the more extensive set around Saturn and the simpler rings found around Jupiter and Neptune. MIDOX will make multiple close passes through the rings to map their structure and look for smaller beams that might be hiding in the gaps. It will also carry a spectrometer that will analyze the chemical properties of the rings and help scientists understand how they formed. The mission will also study Uranus itself, but from a further distance. One of its instruments will analyze the particles escaping from the planet's upper atmosphere to better understand how the atmosphere interacts with the solar wind. Another instrument will use a technique called radio occultation to study the planet's atmosphere and magnetic field. This technique works by sending a radio signal from the spacecraft to Earth while passing behind Uranus. The atmosphere will absorb and scatter some of the radio waves depending on how dense the gas is at different altitudes. By analyzing how the signal changes, scientists can learn about the structure of Uranus's atmosphere and its magnetic field, which is very important for understanding how the planet interacts with its environment. So while the 2 new missions will explore different aspects of the Uranian system, they will complement each other nicely and help fill in the gaps left by Voyager. We've known for a long time that Uranus is a very interesting planet, but we've had very little opportunity to study it up close. These new missions should finally start to answer many of the questions that have kept scientists up at night for decades. I'm the host of this channel, and if you want to learn how you can help us explore the solar system and beyond,